Hey, all you comic book readers and true believers, it's Tuesday, and I'm your ever-loving blue-eyed comic book guy, Mitch Harmon. You guys know what's up. Mitch's Picks. From DC Comics, Flash Forward, #1, written by Scott Lobdell, art done by Brett Booth. This is a new miniseries coming out of DC Comics, spinning out of the events that happened in Heroes in Crisis. Wally West is considered a criminal now, and they are trying to... they put him into a maximum security prison. The only one that's available right now is Blackgate, but Wally knows plenty of people that are in there. Some that he's put there himself, and others that he just knows somebody who has put them in there. So needless to say, he has very little friends inside this prison. And there's actually even a couple of attempts on his life. Well, one of those is interrupted by Fuginot? I'm not really sure if I'm even saying that right, but it's some keeper of the multiverse, and Wally has some sort of destiny to help maintain the integrity of the multiverse, because the multiverse is always in trouble because people cannot seem to be leaving it alone. They always got to be messing with it. Good guys and bad guys at that. So, but this is a new miniseries, I believe 6-part stuff. This is playing off of what Tom King did in the Heroes in Crisis. So if you were into that story, you definitely want to pick up this, kind of like a epilogue, second tale, whatever you want to really call it. And if you're just interested in the DC multiverse and whatnot, this is definitely for you guys. Check it out. From Dark Horse Comics, Steeple, #1, written and drawn by John Allison. This is a new series spinning out of Dark Horse Comics. Billy Baker, she is part of a parish trying to go and she actually asked the people she works for to try to find a challenging place for her to go, somewhere that's really going to test her mettle, and gets sent out to this small town where Reverend Penrose kind of runs the church. But Penrose has had quite a few people to come through to help out with his problem. Most that he refers to as string-being armed, weak-chinned individuals who can't really amount to anything. And Billy is a little confused because she's like, well, this is just church work. Come to find out, Penrose has actually been fighting for this small town for whatever reason. There's been a multitude of, he refers to as demons, just coming out of this, out of the ocean to wreak havoc onto this small town. And Billy is kind of a little astounded. That is until she comes across one of these monsters herself one night, having to try to help Penrose deal with this. But Billy's also made an extra friend, but come to find out that her friend is part of the Satanic Church. This is only one first issue out for it, but for what I've read so far, it is kind of interesting. You have two people who never met each other, kind of meet on circumstances they could not control. Come to find out that one is working for God, I guess you could say. And the other one, Margaret Warren, or Maggie Warren, she goes to the Satanic Church. So two different camps, but still trying to protect the small town, I guess you could say. This is a new ongoing series, as far as I can tell. John Allison, not really heard of any work that he's done before, but anybody that draws and writes their own books is A-okay by me. Plus, it's pretty good art, and I like the concept of the book. Anybody fighting supernatural monsters has got to be a decent read, right, guys? Check it out. From DC Comics, DC Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor, one-shot, written by Jason Latour, art done by Brian Hitch. This is the another one of those one-shots coming out for the DC Year of the Villain. We've already seen the Black Mask and Riddler, and now it is time for Luthor. We still have, I know, at least Joker, and I feel like there might be one more, but Lex is kind of the big one, because all the other one-shots is Lex visiting this individual to give them a gift to help them kind of overcome their troubles, their hardships they've always had as supervillains, to allow them to become more so, I guess you could say, to have that extra edge over their hero. But Lex, seeing him as a complete individual, the only path is the path of Lex Luthor, and he has to go, he feels that it's necessary to go through the multiverse and find other Lex Luthors and either try to commit them to his cause or just get rid of them altogether. And along the way, he finds a very interesting group of different Lexes. A Lex Luthor who has gone through the multiverse himself, a young Lex Luthor who is yet to even discover his genius, I guess you say, even a Lex Luthor who kind of takes on the role of a Batman in one universe. These are all in a way, Lex Luthor, but not quite the alpha Lex that is going through. The one that's on the cover, pretty much. Written by Jason Latour, guy who did Spider-Gwen. He did the art for Southern Bastards and all that stuff. Really good read if you're into the Lex Luthor stuff or Superman. Even if you're not, just for the fact of the DC year of the villain, it's another little footstone in this this path of the DC year of the villain stuff. And it gives you a little bit of an origin story of Lex Luthor and who he is. So if you've never read that, this is the way to get it, guys. Check it out. For Marvel Comics, Spider-Man #1, written by J.J. Abrams and Henry Abrams, art done by Sarah Pichelli. This is a new miniseries coming out of the Marvel Comics line. I really hope this is not canon. Actually, I'm almost positive this is not canon because some crazy stuff happens in the first like 4 pages of this book. Not really kind of giving too much away. There are some serious events that are laying the groundwork, but basically Peter Parker is trying to, I guess you could say, be a father, because in this world, Mary Jane and Peter have had a son, and Peter is trying to do the best he can with being a father. That doesn't necessarily always mean things work out, because you know how that Parker luck goes. They try to balance the life, a little bit of professionalism, a little bit of superheroing, a little bit of just everyday average life. Like I said, this is only going to be a 5-part miniseries written by J.J. Abrams, more so done by Henry Abrams, but got to have J.J. in there to kind of help smooth over those rough corners and whatnot. Wonderful art done by Sarah Pichelli. Really excited for this, especially since it's not canon, because you know if the story's not canon, it's Elseworlds or whatever, it's going to go crazy. There's going to be a lot of crazy changes, a lot of weird things that not otherwise would not be able to happen in the comics, because there's no consequences in this one, which is what is good about some comics. Sometimes you need to have loss and whatnot. It's good for the story and development and whatnot. Like I said, only 5 issues, guys, so this is the #1. Plus we got a really cool Chip Kid cover in it as well. Very minimalist. Looks really cool, guys. Check it out. From Dark Horse Comics, Umbrella Academy, Volume 3, written by Gerard Way, art done by Gabriel Ball. For those of you who've watched the Netflix series, this is actually going to be taking place a little bit after that, although the Netflix series really didn't kind of follow the books. I mean, it did, but they definitely made some changes here and there, kind of almost meshed the 2 books together. But this is Volume 3, a continuation afterwards. In the growing world of superheroes and more and more people showing up with powers, the Umbrella Academy has to find a way to kind of deal with this surge of super weapons, I guess you say. Basically, people walking around as nuclear bombs, if you will. This is the 3rd installment. As far as I know, Gerard Way and Gabriel Ball plan on continuing their story of Umbrella Academy. There will be a Volume 4 coming out, just not exactly sure as to when. But like I said, if you watch the show and you're just really interested to see what comes afterwards, I'd recommend picking up the first 2 books, but this is supposed to be a continuation of roughly where the show kind of left off and everything. So definitely don't want to miss this, guys. Check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. Don't forget, this Thursday at 6 p.m. we're doing an Argent Saga demo. It's going to be in the back. Hunter's going to be running it. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys have not heard about it, it's a new game that's coming out, and we're trying to get a feel for see if anybody's interested in playing and whatnot. So like I said, this Thursday, 6 p.m., we will be doing a demo in the back, and I believe it's free, so just come on in and just enjoy the game and everything, guys. So check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. Keep reading your comics, true believers. See you guys next week.